It's time to sit back and check out the RCWR show with Lee Sanders. Get fun, in-depth coverage and analysis from the latest in professional wrestling in AEW, WWE, NWA, Impact Wrestling, or the world of entertainment. From hit TV shows to your favorite sports like the NBA or NFL. All things music, movies, and beyond, while trying to make sense of this crazy world we live in. All while keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. And now your host, live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Yeah, what is going on, fam? Lee Sanders with you guys. Y'all are checking out a new episode of the RCWR show for this Tuesday of April 29th, 2025. Hope you guys' week is off to a fantastic start so far. I cannot complain. At my end, I literally was saying to my professor earlier this morning in my video production class, I said, the end game is here because we're working on our final project, which I've already got experience from the previous semester as I had this professor, same professor, but it was for a different course. And yeah, we're working on a green screen project. So we're going to have a lot of fun. He lifted a ton of restrictions. He just wants us to go out, switching it up big time, trying to do some quirky, funny stuff. So I am doing a Saturday Night Live skit. I'm not copying, but I am doing an original skit. So I'm looking forward to seeing how all this plans out and everything. I'm very, very excited for it, though. We didn't do a show on Monday as there was just so many moving elements that was going on that it just was not possible to do the Monday show. So here is why we are here this Tuesday and everything. So we're gonna do a very nice abbreviated edition of tonight's show. We'll mainly talk about Raw. Now, if you guys want to pick my brain on maybe one or two little headlines that's kind of caught your eye and maybe you want to pick my brain on it, more than welcome to do it. Otherwise, we'll definitely go a little bit more well-rounded because we are going to do a bonus episode to kind of make up for this show. We're going to come on back Wednesday right after AEW Dynamite goes off the air. And we'll go on much longer. I'm picturing what we're doing right now for tonight's show. We're probably going to go almost 50 minutes. And then that's pretty much it. So FYI. Yeah, man. I'm excited, though. I cannot stress it enough. I had a very interesting weekend because I'm gearing up, as many of you guys know, for transferring to American University in the fall. And there were quite a few colleges that I hit up, but I was very, very picky about who I was interested in potentially attending in the fall for transferring and everything. And just when I thought everything was locked and loaded, me and the family were celebrating, we're strategically going, okay, how are we going to make this work? University of Maryland hit your man up. Not only do they hit me up with a acceptance letter, but they're like, oh, hey, take a look at this financial aid package that we created for you. And I'm going, what the hell? And so I take a look at that, and it was a very, very nice offer that they gave. The only thing is I've already committed to AU. And so it was like, and so at the very least, what I was going to try to do was I was going to try to see if maybe I could go to UMD's little special event, kind of like what AU did. I told you about that, how that event went. I was hoping maybe I could go to something like that, see what their sales pitch is, tour their campus. Boy, as far as the communication goes, like AU, email notifications, all that. I mean, I constantly was in the loop about a whole bunch of stuff that was going on, including what ultimately went down with Campus Day and all that. UMD, oh, I was completely left in the dark. I did not know that they had a campus tour, which apparently I think was over the weekend. I didn't know about that shit until after the fact. Matter of fact, I didn't know until yesterday when me and the wife were sitting down and we just were kind of going over things. So that was a little nerve-wracking. And when you look at the breakdown of grant scholarships, not to bore you guys, but you may be in a position or you may have a kid that's about to be in a position. One of the things that I pay very close attention to is, okay, give me the cost breakdown. Tell me how much of this is definitely going to be coming from out of my pocket that I'm going to have to pay back. Tell me how much in grants and scholarships that, hey, I'm not going to have to pay back, and what that's looking like. What's the best opportunities as far as maybe hitting up donors and hitting this up so that as little to zero, I don't have to pay back. And I got to tell you, with the way, looking at the financial aid package that AU set up for me, and then just on the back end, the navigation as far as their website, very user friendly. You don't feel, nobody wants to feel like something's over their head or they got to like email, call a motherfucker, all that other stuff. So, it sucks. I wish I would have had a little bit more, but the way UMD kind of did it, it was like, okay, whatever. So let's talk WWE Raw. No poll, because I mean, come on, it's Tuesday. I mean, it'd be one thing if it was Monday night, but it's Tuesday now. Couple of things caught my eye from the Monday show. This was one of those weird, quirky kind of episodes, and it's very weird what I'm going to say, and this may be a controversial opinion, but I am finding personally within the past several weeks, going into about, I would say, maybe the last 2, potentially 3 months now, I am finding more and more that I am missing Vince McMahon at the helm on certain creative aspects, certain story arcs, and all that. Because say what you will about Vince as far as some of the crude humor that he would have going on the shows and all that. But I tell you what, he was definitely a stickler for detail and trying to do something that definitely was okay. Look, not only is this tight, this is a good idea. We're going to run with it. And I tell you what, if I show up at the arena and I'm thinking about something else, we're going to throw the shit, whatever we got, out the door, and we're going to start from scratch. And I know these days it's a lot less stressful. It's very carefree. And, we've heard from a lot of the wrestlers that's been talking about, they were going on record. They've talked about how the environment is now, especially from a creative standpoint and all of that. But I've been noticing some things where I'm like, man, I wish this was tightened up a little bit more. Why are we kind of going in this direction? So for instance, the whole stuff with Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria. I get what the creative minds are trying to do with Lyra. I really, really do. I think she's talented. She's got a great look. But as far as a commanding presence, as far as really connecting with the fans, there's nothing there. There's nothing that's there. I mean, we see how the American audience reacts to her, and I'm very curious how received she is internationally, especially in her respective homeland amongst her fans. I'm very curious if the dynamics is completely different because it just seems like each time I have seen this woman in the past several weeks, they have tried so many things. And I'm very consistent in my critique of Lyra because I remember, for instance, when they had her messing around there with Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. I wasn't a fan of that whatsoever. I was very vocal about it here on this show week after week. And I just felt, no, this is not the kind of rub that she needs. If you really want her kicking on all cylinders, you got to be having her work with some bigger stars. And it took WWE a minute, but eventually, that's what they did. Didn't take them too long, took them a couple of months, but eventually, they did do that. Trying to get her involved in tournaments, things of that nature. I mean, they were doing everything right once they made that pivot, but there was still, yeah, she's okay, but it's kind of one of those deals where, and I really hate to say this, I really, really do, but it's one of those deals where I can remember a time when I used to go to wrestling events a lot, and it would be one of those deals where when I would put my money down, or I wanted to take my spouse, my girl, or I want to take a friend or whoever. Yeah, it's one of those type of deals where I didn't even have to think twice about putting that money down because, oh, this person's going to be there. This person, like everybody that I was watching back in the day, like I messed with all of them. So it was one of those cases where I know I'm going to have a good time, whether it's somebody mid card, somebody on the lower card, I'm going to come out there and I'm going to have a good time regardless because I mess with every single one of those people. And, the way I've always tried to envision things is, can I mess with that person to the point where no matter where they are on the card, if a situation were to come where I could see them for a meet and greet, like hands down, I'm going to do it. Just hands down. Like if price is no object, it's not an issue. And I have the convenience of not traveling that far to see them. Like, is it worth it? And there's a lot of talents that I'm looking at from NXT. There's a lot of talents that I'm looking at for sure on the main rosters. And I'm going, yeah, I would cough up the money to see you. I'd cough up. I'm still not there with Lyra Valkyria. I don't know about you guys, but I'm still not there with her. So now more than ever, it is one of those cases where you got to step up. And if you don't step up, you're going to get stepped over because, and that's not me being mean, people. Understand where we currently are right now with WWE. We got so many talented men and women that are waiting in the wings to, okay, hey, I'm hungry. I want that opportunity. Like, what's up, right? At the performance center, and we see what's going on with NXT and everything. And I was looking at Lyra's promo against Becky Lynch Monday. She's staggering over her words. I'm not picking up enough conviction from her promo. I'm not really truly, she's just struggling with this. And, from a television production standpoint, and I can, I have that unique advantage over all the other people that's just talking about, like, I know what it takes to put on a production. It's one of those cases where when you're sitting down and you're banging out that script and you're trying to do your best to memorize bullet points, okay? Like something I would always tell whoever I was teaming up with, whatever classmate I was teaming up with and working with and everything, and they felt kind of nervous and all that other stuff. I would just say to them, look, try not to so much memorize a whole goddamn script. Just memorize a couple of bullet points. Have in the back of your head that the segment at minimum needs to run for this amount of time, and at max, like we got to dip out before we basically get cut off. You definitely need to make your point, be done by this. And whether it is practicing in front of a mirror, or it is maybe getting in front of your phone or your tablet and you're firing up the camera and you're recording yourself cutting whatever, and then you're playing it back and you're scrutinizing it. Hell, maybe you send it to a friend or a family member that is going to give it to you between the eyes. They'll keep it real with you. They're not trying to hurt your feelings, but at the same time, they're trying to look out for you and make sure that, this is what you need to work on, all that stuff. You need to do those type of things. That's how you get better. The repetition, that is definitely key. But if you're serious about, I'm trying to do everything I can to improve my game overall, then in due time, you'll definitely get there. And so we've seen, to my point, Lyra on the main roster now for about a year, if not more. And it just seems like it just seems like, think of your favorite Pokemon game. You know how, with Pokemon, whatever creature you catch, eventually they evolve, right? They go to that next tier. She has not evolved yet. I mean, she looks hotter. I'll definitely give her that. Cute looking little small button of a girl. But if I have to have my pick, and it's like, okay, well, for small girls that got a lot of personality, not for nothing, I got Roxanne Perez. Let me go invest in her and all that. So, Becky, very weird this go round. Becky Lynch, I was pretty excited to see her return at WrestleMania, because I don't need no long time listener. Lee, you said you missed Becky. Yeah, I legit had a big old smile on my face when I saw her at WrestleMania. Now I'm kind of going, ugh. And it's because she's with Lyra. I am more intrigued by a Becky Bailey matchup as opposed to Lyra and Becky. Like just remove, and hopefully we'll get to that much quicker than what we're getting right now between Becky and Lyra. But was not a fan of that heated. Oh, my alarm's going off. Sorry about that, y'all. I was more excited about the whole Bailey thing. And nice to hear Becky Lynch say that she was the one that attacked Bailey. Man, try saying that 10 times fast. Becky and Bailey. Oof. So, with that name drop, it's just a matter of time before Bailey resurfaces and everything. I'm kind of with you guys, though. I know there's been more and more chatter about Becky Lynch possibly becoming a Paul Heyman woman. That very well could happen, given what's going on there with that new dangerous alliance consisting of Paul Heyman, Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker. Now, look, I don't know in regards to Braun Breaker. I really don't know if he should be in this alliance. I'm trying to give it enough time to see how this faction works out and everything, because I just felt that he was doing quite fine on his own. But you cannot go wrong with a Paul Heyman. You cannot go wrong with that. I know that in previous years, I had said, yo, give me Paul Heyman with Breaker. That'd be a great combo. And then finally, I remember the infamous segment. Paul Heyman had all this white hair that was going on. It was an episode of Raw, and he was backstage, and he was chatting it up with Breaker, telling him how he's had his eye on him for a while, how he's the future, and all this. And I'm going, okay, so we're going to eventually get there with these two. Okay, okay, that's what's up. I like that. But I always felt Heyman, Breaker, and or Omaz, that would be really freaking badass. But I'm not sure I'm quite a fan of. Again, I need a couple more weeks, see where things play out and everything. But I'm not really feeling Braun Breaker kind of being in the shadow a little bit here. It doesn't, I saw so many people go Evolution. A lot of people were very quick to bring up Evolution with this new Seth Rollins stable. And I couldn't help but go, yeah, no, there's a big difference here between the Evolution stable and this new Diddley alliance that we're looking at here, which is this. And I know this from living through Evolution in real time. In real time, when it came to Evolution, man, you just went, yo, the talent that is here, these personalities, undeniable. This is going to print freaking money, smell money, taste like money, feel like money. Yo, this is just money. And like, you just knew instantly way back when you first saw Dave Batista. And I'm proud. I'm proud to say this. Me and a couple of my friends, especially being out here in DC and everything, and we kind of already knew some stuff about Dave Batista. But when we first got an opportunity to see some footage of him there coming up through OVW, we were like, like this is somebody we need to. What was he called? The Levington or whatever back then. Like, this is somebody we need to keep our eyes on. And then when we saw him come up as Deacon Batista, we're going, okay, stupid ass costume that this dude is wearing. So I remember he had torn off sleeves from a suit, and he had this big old silver chain around his neck that was connected to a briefcase. And he basically was running around collecting the donations there on behalf of Devon Dudley, who was Deacon Reverend Devon. I apologize, Reverend Devon. I said something else, Deacon or whatever, but no, Batista, he was Deacon Batista. And like, but despite the stupid costume, you looked at Dave Batista back then and you were like, future star, like without a doubt, like this dude, he's Randy Orton, same freaking deal. Same freaking deal. I could make an argument he didn't need his dad with him when he was first starting off. I could make a very valid argument, but yeah, you just looked at all those young guys that was then, and you just were like, yo, these guys, they are, yeah, oh my God. Now, look, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that when I look at Braun Breaker, I don't see that, you know, with Evolution, it was a case where, okay, these guys are just right at the cusp of being bona fide main eventers. This alliance, this faction is going to help them tremendously. Looking at where things stand right now, until more members are added to this new dangerous alliance, I'm looking at Braun Breaker going, well, not for nothing, but what this guy was able to establish on his own through NXT, what this guy was able to establish on his own being part of the Raw roster and everything. No, he is too much of a standout individual. He really does not need to be incorporated. At least not if you're selling me Braun Breaker in this stable as a guy behind a guy. No, I'm not really. No, I'm not feeling that. I'm not feeling that. But if you're gonna sell this to me as no, it is just as equal, like just as Seth is, Breaker's same, but that's not what was displayed on Monday night here. That's not what was displayed on Monday, and I have some reservations about that. Now, some of you guys may say, "Okay, Lee, well, if you could have it your way, and you're feeling how you're feeling about Braun Breaker, who would you put in there with Seth Rollins?" Okay, who would you put in there? Simple answer. They're not doing anything with him. I've been calling for it for years. Shout out to my buddies in Mish and Julian. They remember this very well. I made an argument years back. Put Omos with Paul Heyman. Put Omos with Paul Heyman. Omos been back U.S. soil as far as we know, or definitely at least because he left Pro Wrestling Noah a couple of months ago to go back to WWE, and we ain't heard a peep. We ain't heard one peep of this guy. And I am patiently just going, okay, what are we doing with this guy? Because you've got this, this is an attraction. This is a special talent of a man that you have here. This is your modern day Big Show. This is your modern day Andre the Giant. You do this guy just right. It is one of those deals where you go, when you see this big motherfucker, oh, in game. When you see this dude, somebody's getting destroyed. Make no question about it. And so, if there was ever a time where you're creative and you're going, we've been given a challenge of trying to figure out what to do with Omaz, you got the opportunity right here. Omaz should be in there. I personally would replace Breaker with Omaz. In addition, I would throw somebody in there I would potentially throw somebody in there, maybe a Montez Ford and or Angelo Dawkins. I may possibly throw in there Austin Theory. Austin Theory, I haven't given up on him, not completely. I'm looking at him. I'm going, you know what? He can be a future, but he needs to be in the right. I think the A-Town Down Under, I think that's run its course. I truly believe that's run its course. Whether or not he'll be able to rise to that occasion whenever they try to present him some opportunities and he's able to crush it, that remains to be seen. But I haven't fully given up hope on the young man. This is still in its infancy stages, so we definitely need to give this a couple of more weeks, fam, and see where this goes. But first impressions, I'm looking at this new Dangerous Alliance. I'm going, you know. I like how Sami Zayn got thrown into the mix of all of this. Seth Rollins essentially making Sami Zayn an offer he cannot refuse. Basically saying to him, look, I'm sorry you feel the way that you feel, but I am all about change. And this is very quirky too, by the way, in regards to what's happening here with Seth Rollins, because, and I've been noticing this for the past, really since WrestleMania. So we got Seth Rollins coming out there. I won my main event at WrestleMania. I beat Roman Reigns and CM Punk. And, you're going, well, that's not exactly babyface-ish. Because, if you're a CM Punk fan, you're going, no, I really want it. If you're a Roman Reigns fan, you're going, no, I really wanted Roman. So it's really weird to see what's been happening with Seth Rollins these past couple of weeks, where he's giving out. And before anybody says, oh, Lee, the era of babyface and heel, like, that's dead and gone. It's always in the gray now, or some weird shit like that. But when you have this guy, Seth Rollins, cross paths with a beloved character in Sami Zayn, the most over freaking babyface that there is, and you've got Seth Rollins basically saying to this dude, look, you either are down with what I'm trying to do, or I'm going to kill your ass. That should be like, no, that's Sammy. That's our beloved. No, you need to leave him. No, what the hell is wrong with you? Right. And the crowd, very bipolar. What's going on here? Right. The moment Seth Rollins comes out to his little whoa, whoa, whoa song, like, the fans shouldn't even be. I'm at a point right now where I'm literally saying WWE, if Seth Rollins is supposed to be a bad guy, especially after the actions that he did by the end of the night there to Sami Zayn, having Braun Breaker, destroy him and everything, and Rollins just coming in with the curb stomp, all of that shit. Heinous, despicable, whatever you want to call it. Seth Rollins, he should no longer be coming out with that whoa stuff. Like, you need to just cut that and just burn it down. Burn it down. Just go like that, right? So it's like they're not even sure. You know what it reminds me of? Chris Jericho. That is a very fair comparison, because Chris Jericho and AEW would do all this heinous, disgusting shit. We're supposed to hate this guy. And every time this dude comes out, Judas on my mind. I become man. And you know it. You see the fucking close-ups of the people, and then they're singing the Judas song, and it's like, you're supposed to boo this guy. You're supposed to boo this. Why are you singing this song? Seriously, like, why are you singing this song? I don't remember when Triple H was at his peak. Yo, hit me up with that Triple H. I don't remember people cheering for. I don't remember people singing and clapping along when he had the King of Kings or the Motorhead Time to Play. I don't remember none of that. Dude was getting his ass booed. He was doing his job right. They hated his ass. He was getting that good heel heat. This right here, it's all over the place. That's what I mean when I say some of the stuff that I saw in this episode was a bit quirky to a certain extent, and just a little bit baffling, where it just comes off to me in layman's terms like creative, like they're not trying, like they're just not trying. Like, I appreciate you giving me something, right? But man, I'm not really feeling the love, right? I'm not really feeling the full blown out, creative process here. Now, look, you could make an argument. Hey, they just getting started. Give them some time. Give them some time. Whatever, man. Honestly, the highlight of the night for me, when I stop and think about Raw this week, I got to give it up to Pat McAfee. I enjoyed his promo. I mean, that promo, say what you will about Pat McAfee. I know he's not everybody's cup of tea. It's funny, too, because me and Tams, we talked about him over the weekend on a new episode of Wrestling with the Topics. I know there was some audio issues. Luckily, the first 30 minutes of the show, all of it was recorded. So I made sure in post-production, I cleaned it up and all that. So where you get your podcasts, just pull up the episode that way. Well, we spent several minutes talking about Pat McAfee and everything, and good discussion. Say what you will about Pat, but man, that promo that he cut on Monday, I'm like just nodding my head, and I'm going, shit, I forgot how good of a promo guy this man is, because it's been that long, since he's basically come over the Raw, and like we really have not, it's been a while. And I'm just nodding my head and I'm going, man, this guy's shit is better than Lyra Valkyria, who, keep in mind, both on the same episode. Both on the same episode. Take that a step further and you just, wow, there's a couple of people on the flagship shows and down there in NXT compared to Pat McAfee on the microphone. You're going, step your game up. Step your game up. So now we're going to get Gunther versus, see, this is another one of those, wait, we're going in a quirky WTF direction. So now we're going to get Pat McAfee versus Gunther at Backlash. I was ready for Gunther and Jey Uso, the rematch. I almost was ready for that. just weird. What's going on? Look, I'm not going to crap on because Pat McAfee, he has given us some decent matches. So let's see what happens when we get there. I think this is maybe going to be more of a fight than a match. We shall see. But look, if it ends up being a drizzle, we'll talk about it. We'll be honest about it here. Uh, Logan Paul, Jey Uso. So looks like they're going to be going at it for the World Heavyweight Championship. Kind of quirky how, especially just from left field, how that kind of essentially came from out of nowhere. Um, I have reservations about that. I legit do because it just screams instant Logan Paul's going to lose. I'm not really sure. You feel me? But then you could make an argument. Well, if you're gonna have Gunther, like you could consider that to be an instant, right? Logan Paul, Jey Uso, that doesn't intrigue me at all, not by a stretch. And I gotta tell you, they're gonna have to go to another level with these two men because Logan Paul right now, just on the microphone alone, 10 times better than Jey Uso. So from the standpoint of getting that heat and feeling very sympathetic towards Jey Uso, I'll give WWE this mission accomplished. Mission accomplished. So they're doing those parts right, but it's not really a good matchup when you really take a step back. Like the match itself in the ring, it's going to be fine. But when you're just looking at the current matchup, Mike for Mike and all that, like Logan Paul is way ahead of the game. Way ahead of the game. Rhea Ripley taking on Roxanne Perez. Perez. I said Perez. Perez. Pretty solid matchup. Once again, though, kind of a repeat, but almost in reverse from what we had got last week there with Julia and EO Sky. Pretty much a rinse and repeat here with the finish and everything. Love the fact that WWE is showcasing these girls more and more. Um, I'm looking forward to seeing them as mainstays on the flagship shows, and I would imagine the draft is going to be coming up very, very shortly. Right down to the point, I wouldn't be surprised if the draft maybe kicked in after Backlash. I would imagine it's going to go down that way. Another thing that's kind of intriguing me a little bit more too, and I definitely I've gotten to a point now where on Raw I go, well, what's happening here? Judgment Day, all this stuff that's going on with poor Finn Balor. Finn Balor is finding out about stuff after the fact. After the fact. And like many of us can so relate to this in our own lives, whether it's among friends, family, coworkers, and you're just looking at this and eventually it's going to hit the fan. The only question is how exactly is Finn going to just ultimately throw up his hands and walk away from Judgment Day? Or is Dirty Dom in them? They pretty much gonna out him, and essentially Finn Balor flips, goes the babyface route. Like what are we gonna see happen right here? Liv Morgan, shout out to her, working on a new movie project. I can't wait to hear how all of that pans out. I want to hear the big reveal. I want to hear more about this project. I was trying to see if I could find a little something before we came on the air, and nothing. Look, I think she's got a fantastic look, a great freaking look, definitely marketable. She's got the right type of height, just everything. She would be great in Hollywood. I think she is going to crush it. I think she is going to crush it. I can see her. and this isn't me jumping ahead, but if I was her agent, as far as the type of projects I would try to get her involved in and all that, try to really show a different side to her as an actress and everything. I would be trying to get her hooked up with some at first. Um, and again, we don't know what she signed up for. We'll know soon, but I'm just saying, if I was her agent, seeing what I've been seeing of her in WWE over the years, I'd be trying to hook her up with some independent films. I want her in a serious role. I'm not looking for no Oscar, no Golden Globe. I'm not looking for anything of that magnitude. Although if she happens to stumble upon it, that's great. But I can see her as a dramatic character, as a dramatic actor. I can see her doing some stuff. Um, I could also see her in the right circumstance. I could also see her doing some comedy stuff. I could easily see her with Amy Schumer, Wanda Sykes. I could easily see her doing some stuff, right type of material and all that. So she's come a long way. And I do want to put this asterisk when I'm talking about Liv Morgan, by the way. That's the Liv Morgan of today, the Liv Morgan that we have before us right now. Now, if you would have came to me 3, 4, 5 years ago and been like, okay, Liv Morgan, insert her in Hollywood, I'm going, I don't know. Doing what exactly? Like I basically would be like, well, if we need a hot babe for a music video, like sure, we can go that route. I'm sorry, you had something else in mind? It'd be kind of one of those type of deals. But now it's like, no, I think she can. I think she can carry herself pretty well. War Raiders picking up a victory over the Judgment Day. We're talking about Judgment Day. Poor Finn Balor, as the dagger in the back continues. JD McDonough back and all that. Not just back, had a tag match and everything. Apparently went to Nick Aldis, who was substituting for this week only. Got him and Finn a tag match there against the War Raiders, as JD thought maybe it'd be a good idea for them to get this tag match and try to see if they can eventually go for some tag team gold. Finn liking the idea, just wishing that he would have been involved in the mix. Yeah, we see how this is going. By the way, Finn Balor recently did an interview where a question was brought up to him about would a day ever come where the demon returns? And reading between the lines, he pretty much said, yeah, you just never know when it's going to pop up. So it's nice to know that at some point the demon will resurface, which is good, I do want to see the demon resurface. Stephanie Vakir, my God. By the way, there's a lot of you sick individuals out there. I was minding my own business. I was just looking up photos of Stephanie Vakir, and I came across some freaky stuff on Reddit and a couple of other places. Y'all naughty as hell, man. Y'all remember Tim Meadows from Saturday Night Live? That nasty, that's she do look good though. I will say that. Stephanie Vakir. Oh my God. Shucky ducky, quack quack. Two of my favorites. Stephanie Vakir taking on Ivy Now. This is actually one of my favorite matches of the night. I thoroughly had enjoyed this one. It's so funny because her look, this aura that she has about her, like you can't help but stop what you're doing and be like, yo, what is going on with this woman? I love how well received she is from the overall WWE fans these past couple of weeks that we've had her on Raw. She is going to do very, very well. Now, you know what? That is somebody you can definitely invest a lot in here. And I've been watching NXT. more and more, and largely in part because of her. And I don't see her being the NXT Women's Champion that long because of her star power. You feel me? But I hope that in the process, far as NXT goes, they're going, okay, well, who do we have that can step up and pretty much, I don't know if that maybe is going to be Lola Vice. I hope Miss Jackson, maybe Miss Jackson or my girl Jada Parker. I love me some Jada Parker, man. Maybe they can go with Jada Parker. We'll see. We'll see. But when you got somebody like a Stephanie Vakir that is undeniable, like you gotta hurry up and bank on that, man. You gotta hurry up and bank on that. See, other than that, we had Braun Breaker taking on Sami Zayn. That pretty much closed out the show. Heck of an ass kicking there. Sami Zayn ultimately taking there, getting his ass curb stop, all that good stuff. Kind of felt more to me like this week, this was more women focused, which is good. Which is good. No issues with that whatsoever. Love the Sami Zayn story. I mean, that was a very interesting position that they had Sami Zayn in. Hey, get out of our way. And look, we've set it up so you can go over to SmackDown. And guess what? Off the break, you can get yourself the winner of John Cena versus Randy Orton. That's right. You'll get a shot at that championship. And for Sami Zayn to ultimately go, I want to be a champion so bad, but I want to earn it. I ain't trying to get it like that. Like, nah. So I like Sami Zayn staying true there. So it's safe to say that ultimately Sami Zayn, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, right? Obviously, the Dangerous Alliance, they're going to need to add another man or two or three, a woman in there. Okay, really expand the hell out of that. I'm very excited to see, even though I have my reservations, I'm very curious to see where this new faction goes. Whether we like it or not, Lyra Lynch, that is what it is essentially. I just want to see these two girls break apart, move on. That's just where I am right now. Penta and Chad Gable / what is the name of that damn character? That Americano Dragono, whatever the hell that character is that Chad Gable's pushing. Shades of the Patriot. Hulk Hogan as the Patriot. Shades of that I am having. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Saw some interesting chatter that was going on in regards to AEW Collision. A lot of fans are making fun of AEW Collision. They're going, oh man, AEW Collision got bumped because freaking they're doing Avengers Marathon. Man, that's some cold shit. It got bumped. Newsflash. And then they're jumping out there and saying, oh, obviously there's trouble in paradise for AEW Collision because look at this. Warner Brothers, they're not happy with the. First of all, numbers are doing pretty good for AEW, for Dynamite and Collision. As a matter of fact, for AEW Collision, if I'm not mistaken, it did a little bit over 700,000 in viewership for what they did this past week. Collision is actually going to be coming on this week, folks. It's just going to be coming on TBS. So be careful what you read out there on social media. Okay. So again, Saturday night, AEW Collision, it returns to its normal time at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, but it's going to be on TBS. And don't forget, you can also check it out on Max as well. It'll be on Max. I still don't know how that works. Like, I guess it streams at the same time. I'm actually going to find out tonight because there's a couple of NBA games, some NHL stuff that I'm going to be watching. And I know they're always saying also available on Max. So I'm actually going to test that out and see how that goes, get a good feel for that and everything. So, but again, be careful with what you read online. Cannot stress that enough, because you won't know any better when you read some stuff like that that's floating around out there. By the way, how many of you Tom Cruise fans are out there? We were talking about it over the weekend. Want to reiterate it again in case you may not know. Mission Impossible tickets are now for sale at your local theater. But I want to highlight something very, very cool. There's going to be a Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning Fan Day event. So you definitely want to check with your local theater. And basically, in a nutshell, you'll be able to go to this exclusive Fan Day event one day before that movie is released worldwide. And what's really cool about this is really badass concept, I think. The way Tom Cruise and his production team and all that has set it up for that Fan Day event of The Final Reckoning, there won't be any ads, no music videos, no trailers. Just you go right into the movie. So if that movie, if you're showing up for 2 p.m., movie is going to start at 2 p.m. Not no 2:05, not no 2:15, not no 2:20. Movie's going to start at 2. And another thing that's pretty cool is there's going to be some special 14 by 20 commemorative tickets for that particular, to commemorate that Fan Day event. So, if you're a fan of Tom Cruise and the Mission Impossible movies, y'all definitely may want to look into that. Man, the way the ticket prices, it's so funny because when me and Tams are doing the show live Sunday, and I was looking up the ticket prices and everything. $25. Oof, $25. Good God Almighty! Like, it just keeps going. I ain't even got no food yet. That's the crazy part. I ain't even got no food yet. So yeah. Tag matches have been announced for tonight's NXT. By the way, here's how the whole card is looking. We got the North American Championship. Ricky Saints will be facing Lexis King. And then for the NXT Tag Team titles, we've got Hank and Tank. Love those guys. They remind me so much of Public Enemy. I'm not talking about the rap group. It's an old wrestling tag team from back in the day. Shout out if you know your tag teams. Hank and Tank, they're going to be defending those tag titles against Josh Briggs and Yoshiki. Also, Io Sky and Jordan Grace team up to face Julia and Roxanne Perez. Meanwhile, Tony D'Angelo and Stax, they meet face to face. Everything that had went down. What was that? Takeover. Joe Hendry has an open invitation to appear as well. So pretty solid card for this week's NXT. Also, updated card for WWE Backlash. Just to refresh you all's memory, right now we got John Cena versus Randy Orton, Pat McAfee versus Gunther, and then we have the Women's Intercontinental Championship, Lyra Valkyria defending it against Becky Lynch. So that's how that is starting to shape up. And remember, that's going to be happening, I believe, next week is Backlash. That should be happening next week. TNA Wrestling, they did their Rebellion pay-per-view event over the weekend. Quick results from that. Fatal Influence defeated Rosemary, Zaya Brookside, and Li Ying Lee in a 6-woman tag match. Elijah, aka Elias, defeated Shane Hayes. Moose retained his X Division championship against KC Navarro, Leon Slater, Cardona, El Hero del Vikingo, and Sidney Akeem. Meanwhile, Ash by Elegance, Heather, that's a tongue twister. Ash by Elegance and Heather by Elegance. Yeah, there we go. Won the four-way for the TNA Knockouts World Tag Team titles as they defeated the Metaphors, Jakar Jackson and Lash Legend, Spitfires, Danny Luna and Jody Threat, and Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley. Meanwhile, Ace Austin and the Rascals defeated the System. 6-man tag team match. Steve Macklin defeated Eric Young. Looks like that was for the TNA Intercontinental Championship. Meanwhile, Mike Santana defeated Mustafa Ali in a Falls Count Anywhere match. Nemeth Brothers defeated the Hardys to become the new TNA Tag Champions. And in a triple threat match for the TNA World Championship, Joe Hendry defeated Frankie Kazarian and Ethan Page. So that is how TNA Rebellion had shaped up over the weekend. Speaking of TNA, way the card is looking for this week's Impact Live special start time, 10 p.m. Eastern. I remember that, 10 p.m. Eastern. On Access TV, we're going to see Frankie Kazarian and Nemeths team up to face Joe Hendry and the Hardys. It's one of the matches that's going to be going down. Should be a pretty solid matchup. As far as the rest of the card goes, for TNA, I am not seeing anything. I'm not seeing anything else right now. But I'll make sure I hook you guys up on social media, kind of give you guys a little bit of a refresher. AEW, by the way, here's how the card is looking for AEW Dynamite for this week. I remember saying something about Collision. Let me give you guys a heads about what's happening with Dynamite. They're going to be returning to Norfolk, Virginia. Shout out to my people in Virginia. And the way that's looking, matches announced so far, we got all-star 8-man tag, Kenny Omega, Mark Briscoe, Speedball Mike Bailey, Kevin Knight versus the Young Bucks, Okada, and Ricochet. It should be a pretty good matchup. Also, we got the Owen Hart Tournament semifinal, Cal Fletcher versus Hangman Adam Page. Also, segments that were announced. We'll hear from the AEW World Tag Champions, the Hurt Syndicate. We'll also hear from MJF. So gonna be a pretty solid card. And I will be live Wednesday after Dynamite goes off the air. We'll talk Dynamite Fallout. We will talk NXT. We'll also talk some more wrestling headlines and more on that show. I wish we could go longer for you guys, but no, we're not going to do it. Main reason why we're not going to do it is because I got to move my car. Wifey's coming home, and usually we have family come up to visit. So, I don't like the wife to go park across the street, especially after, sunset and all that. So it's one of those, I'll move the car. Just let me know, when you're on your way and all that. So right before I came on the air, I said to her, hey, I'm getting ready to do the show. And she's like, oh, no. I'm going to be leaving here soon. I was like, well, do you want me to do an abbreviated? She said, yeah, could you do an abbreviated show? I'm like, okay, all right, sure, no problem, hon. I got you. So doing an abbreviated show. Nice and tight. I think we did pretty good on this one, but we'll be back Wednesday and we'll go a little bit longer. Not too long. I think we'll probably do about maybe 90 minutes, give or take. Before I roll out, though, shout out to you guys in the comments. I did, don't think I was ignoring you guys. I was seeing a lot of the comments that was coming in here. I just wanted to power through the show here. Shout out to Justin. Justin, basically, I think it was a case where he was hearing what I was saying at the very beginning there with the universities and all that. Appreciate you. Rick, longtime listener, Rick saying that they need to put Bianca with the faction and Becky. Um, no, 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 because Rick, you just officially turned Naomi. You just turned Naomi. And you got to have a replacement for Bianca. Say what you will about Bianca, everybody, but Bianca, my God, she just hits all those age demos so well, especially her popularity with young girls, with young women, teen girls. Like, it would be very easy. Trust me, I've said it here off and on over the years how much I've missed heel Bianca Belair. But she is unfortunately in that John Cena position where, okay, if you're gonna go that route, well, who are you gonna have take her place? Who's going to be that next big black female baby face that, and right now they sadly don't have that. Not just yet. And I mean, looking at what's happening with the current women's roster just universally in WWE, maybe eventually somebody like a Lash Legend. I gotta admit, Lash Legend is leaps and bounds more advanced than where Jade Cargill is. And Jade, I know they're trying, and Jade's got a great look, and but she is barely coming along there. You're looking at somebody like a Lash Legend, or you're looking at someone like a Jada Parker, and could they maybe replace Bianca in the babyface department? It'd be a tough challenge. It would be a tough challenge, but no, I think as far as hey, put with Becky in a faction. Uh no, I would be more interested in seeing if Becky Lynch is to do some type of a female faction, whether Paul Heyman's involved or not. If Becky is to do some type of a female faction, I would like to see Becky. I'd like to see Becky get a hold of someone like a Lash Legend or a Jada Parker. I would also like to see her. I was entertaining the idea of possibly Lola Vice, but I don't really. Maybe a Jakara Jackson, possibly. Maybe you could do something with her. Maybe, just maybe. Under the right circumstances, you could even do something with a Jordan Grace. I know Jordan Grace is essentially paying her dues right now, but it just seems like ever since she officially came on over to WWE, she's pretty much just been floating there. It's just floating. Let's see what else we got. Pretty Deadly, God bless you. You're a fan of Pretty Deadly. God bless you. No, I'm ready to see those guys. I'm gonna stop right there because I look. I don't wish nobody to get fired and all that, but they don't do anything for me. They don't do anything for me. They just don't. If anything, I think you should do something. If you are gonna do something with a Pretty Deadly, I'm surprised WWE has never entertained this. They should have did something with Tiffany Stratton and Pretty Deadly. There's your money right there. I know Carmella in an interview, she was talking about how, hey, I had pitched to, I'm thinking to myself, no, that's more up Tiffany's realm than anything else. So, let's see here. Nola. When will the Botch Uso mess fall? What a horrible champion. I've said this time and time again. Dudes moving merch, dudes making money. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Like, I know y'all don't like that answer, but you got to look at things from a business standpoint. And when you have somebody that is moving as much merch, is printing as much money as Jay Uso is, okay, you're going to definitely make that work. However you may personally feel as a businessman, you're going to be like, I can't deny the people, like, I'm making money off this dude. Like, you feel me? So, yeah. Be kind, rewind, check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads, wherever you get your podcasts. Just search the RCWR Show. I'm all throughout social media as well. Use the keywords, the RCWR Show. I'll be back here Wednesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, after AEW Dynamite goes off the air. NBA schedule for tonight. I've been seeing what's been happening with NBA, by the way. My God, in all my years of watching the Miami Heat under coach Eric Spoelstra, I have never that I can recall seen the Miami Heat. It was a main talking point for us in a class this morning. Like, never have I recalled a time where the Miami Heat under coach Eric there, they got swept. And that game the other night, my God, they got humiliated by the Houston Rockets, 138-83. You're like, damn, what happened? Did you guys just like lay the F down? Like, what the hell there? So just insane. Obviously, they got to do some stuff in the off season. I think they off to like a 12, just as far as recapping their season goes. Weren't they off to like a 12, 25, 12, 30 start or something like that? It was like a 12. No, they went 12-21 after they traded Jimmy Butler away to the Golden State Warriors. They made the playoffs via play-in, and they've done that for the past 3 seasons. That is just, you're like, wow. Then Davion Mitchell, he's going to become a restricted free agent. So you got that's going on, right? Let's not also forget, as far as this calendar year goes, Miami, they got the first round draft pick to OKC. Golden State Warriors got the first round pick to Miami because of everything that happened with Jimmy Butler and all that. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with them in the offseason. Right now, I'm seeing that the Bucks are trailing behind the Pacers 77-79 in the fourth quarter, a little bit over 10 minutes left, as Indiana right now is commanding a 3-1 lead. So if Pacers can hang in there, they'll definitely advance. Also, quarter one right now between the Knicks and the Pistons. Pistons up 20-16. Game coming on at 8:30 p.m. tonight. Sticking with NBA, Magic will be taking on the Celtics. We got a 10 p.m. game tonight between the Clippers and the Nuggets. It's going to be a good one there. Looking forward to that. And remember, the game for Magic and the Celtics, that's the Eastern first round there that we got going on. So some really good games. And then tomorrow, of course, we got the Warriors taking on the Rockets. Timberwolves will be facing the Lakers. I don't know, man. I think Lakers are done. I think Lakers are done. 1, 2, 3, Cancun. I think Lakers are done. If you were to pick my brain right now, just based on everything that I've seen, who I think is going to be in the NBA Finals, man, I really am liking what I'm seeing with the Celtics. I think it could be the Celtics. I think the Celtics and the Warriors. I think the Celtics and the Warriors is what we're going to be seeing for our NBA Finals matchup. Y'all sound off though, and let me know how you're looking at it and everything. Major sports day here in DC too. I'll talk about it on Wednesday. We got the Washington Commanders coming back to the RFK Stadium. I'll sound off more on that. We'll also talk some NHL as well. I've been checking out NHL a lot more. Go Caps. Love what's been going on with the Caps there. But yeah, be kind, rewind, check out previous episodes, get your man all throughout social media. Use keywords, the RCWR show. Shout out to everybody that supports the show. Shout out to our sponsors as always. And until next go round, my pretty babies, wishing all of you all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. I will see you guys next go round. Adios, y'all. Take care.